Thanksgiving is a wonderful holiday where friends and families come together to exchange smiles and food and galaxy gas. A very special holiday where we light candles and put a turkey leg by the chimney so Santa Claus can wiggle his ass down there and boof it as a little appetizer to Christmas. And I know sometimes it can be hard to think of something to be thankful for when you're going through a difficult time, so I'd like to help you out here because I think there is something that everyone should be appreciative of, a blessing that we just recently got. You should be thankful that you get to live in this time period where the worst idea ever pitched was just publicly stated yesterday. Elon Musk just announced that too many game studios are owned by massive corporations, so he's going to use his massive corporation to start an AI game studio. It's finally here. An idea worse than Concord. This is some Powerpuff Girl shit with Professor Utonium in the lab mixing all the ingredients, but the only ingredient here, the Chemical X, is just AI. AI, and AI to create the perfect pile of dog shit. If you're unsatisfied with the games that have been coming out recently, that's totally fine. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to come in there and fucking shove your face into the computer and force you to play them. There's not going to be some kind of covert, off-the-books government agency that's going to kick down your door and arrest you for not liking modern games. That's fine to not like them. How the fuck does this solve that problem? How is AI the solution here? AI has become almost this wacky buzzword that's just this catch-all that can do anything. Like a mythical, magical whatchamahoosit. Like, AI is gonna solve every single problem. You don't like these boring, formulaic, soulless games? Well, don't worry. AI is gonna make nothing but the best games ever made. How? AI right now can only produce soulless, generic, formulaic copies of things that it's been trained on. You're not solving a problem here. This is an idea almost as bad as garlic mouthwash. This isn't like some new innovation either. AI is being used by tons of weirdo assholes to produce unplayable, irredeemable, putrid cash grab garbage right now. So we know what games AI is capable of producing right now, and they're not very good. Significantly worse than anything else that's coming out. So I don't know who this is supposed to excite. As the richest man in the world, if you're unsatisfied with the games and want to start your own studio, why would you choose the cheapest, worst possible option with AI instead of just assembling the goddamn Avengers to create, like, heaters? Like, just a fucking fantasy football team of the best developers that money can buy and put together your own studio with this talent. It'd be significantly more effective and far more likely to lead to something really good as opposed to just relying entirely on AI to make games. That's wumbo idiot mode stuff. That's stupid. Anyway though, this isn't the only thing I wanted to yap about. I do want to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a really happy day. You need to make today a great day, and if you don't, you're gonna make me really fucking mad about it. So, you don't want to do that. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. I start doing some of that. It's not pretty. And also, I'm going to be doing a money giveaway stream tonight. It's been like a month and a half since the last time I've done one of these, so it'll be a bigger one tonight. I'll probably go for a few hours just giving money to a bunch of different people. If you haven't been to one of these, typically what I do is I just have a Google form that I pin to the Twitch stream chat or the YouTube stream chat, and you click on that and just fill out the form saying like how much money you're looking for, what you're going to use it for, and then your PayPal email, and I just go through randomly landing on them and then just fulfilling whatever the wish was. So I was going to do that as a little Thanksgiving celebration to spread a little cheer and joy to get ready for the holly jolly season of Christmas. So I'll be doing that at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. Feel free to stop in if you'd like. It should be fun. Also, here's a little bonus, a cherry on top of this wonderful holiday. Something to get excited for. Put some butterflies in your tummy. Tomorrow for Black Friday, Godslap hardcover is launching. This is the hardcover version of our Godslap comic series. This is issues 1 through 5 compiled into one nice hardcover so you can get all caught up. This is the first arc of Godslap. We're in the second arc of Godslap now, so this is the perfect way of getting caught up because the second arc is going fucking ballistic. Issue 6 is available on the site, and issue 7 is dropping tomorrow as well. So tomorrow will be the perfect day to get into our comic series, badegg.co. It's releasing tomorrow. Thanksgiving's going to become Godslap Day in 10 years from now, I'm telling you. Anyway though, I mainly just wanted to wish you all a really happy Thanksgiving. I don't usually make holiday videos, but today I just really felt in the spirit, a little mushy, gushy, gushing grannies type vibe, and just wanted to say, hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm also going to go ahead and drop a little spicy nugget here on your plate in case any of you haven't seen this news, but it seems like DB Cooper, the DB Cooper, has actually been identified. Like, we finally have real, substantial, overwhelming, nearly bulletproof evidence, fucking adamantium evidence, I would say, because this has truly convinced me that the D.B. Cooper and Richard Floyd McCoy were one and the same. So a YouTuber was actually the one to crack this, and the FBI has been investigating it, even though back in 2016 they kind of threw in the towel, said, you know what, hogwash, we're done here. We can't know for sure. A YouTuber never gave up, and I think they have finally solved it. Who is D.B. Cooper? I already have the answer. It's my buddy Eric. New evidence may crack one of America's greatest mysteries. A parachute found in an outbuilding in North Carolina could be the new evidence that may crack the 53-year-old D.B. Cooper case. Could lead investigators to the identity of the man who jumped out of a hijacked plane carrying 200 grand. Still one of the most interesting mysteries ever. That has a super simple answer. He died before ever even hitting the ground. He didn't survive. That's what I believe. That man parachuted straight to Valhalla. In fact, I don't think he even got a chance to open the parachute. More than 5 decades ago, mild-mannered passenger in a business suite boarded Seattle. We already know the story. I'm not going to fucking lore recap on you. You can go to previously on Dragon Ball Z if you want to see the whole thing. Watch the Lamino video on it. Where's the new evidence? In 2016, after turning over every credible lead and suspect, the FBI seemingly threw up its hands and declared in a statement that it was rerouting resources to other investigative priorities pending any new information, particularly physical evidence such as parachutes or money. Now the agency might have gotten a new break in the case for the first time in decades. The real McCoy. Retired pilot, skydiver, and YouTuber Dan Greider told Cowboy State Daily. What a newspaper. That's like a comic book organization. That he may have found the missing link after uncovering the modified military surplus bailout rig he believes was used by D.B. Cooper in the heist. It belonged to Richard Floyd McCoy II. And was carefully stored in his deceased mother's storage stash until recently. I hit that like baby talk on the stored. McCoy has long been one of the FBI's leading suspects after successfully pulling off an identical but better executed hijacking in Utah just 5 months later. That rig is literally 1 in a billion, Greider said of the distinct parachute. McCoy's children, Shantae and Richard III, cool name, or Rick, agree with Greider that they believed their father was D.B. Cooper, a secret that shrouded the family but wasn't overtly discussed. It's the site you're on. Bob! You're right! I'm on Cowboy State Daily right now! I had no idea. It's just the first thing that came up. For years, they said the family stayed... What? For years, they said the family stayed mum out of fear of implicating their mother, Karen, whom they believe was complicit in both hijackings. Upon her death in 2020, they broke their silence to Greider after being contacted by him off and on for years. Greider, who has been researching the case for more than 20 years, documented this investigation in a lengthy 2-part series on his YouTube channel, Probable Cause. YouTubers are cracking the craziest fucking cases these days, man. That's so hype. On Monday, Greider released a third video, D.B. Cooper Deep FBI Update, where he announced the FBI's new and very recent efforts in his discoveries. After watching his first 2 videos, Greider said FBI agents contacted Rick and Greider to see the parachute. It was the first investigative move by the agency since issuing the 2016 statement. Greider and Rick McCoy traveled to Richmond, Virginia in 2023, where they met the FBI agents. They took the harness and the parachute into evidence, along with the skydiving logbook found by Shantae that aligned with the timeline for both hijackings, providing another vital piece of the puzzle. Also present at the meeting was Greider's friend Laura Savino, a retired commercial airline pilot and award-winning author of Jet Boss, a Female Pilot on Taking Risks and Flying High. Savino said the agents were professional and stoic. Considering they had requested the meeting, it was clear they were taking it seriously. Crucial to the discovery are the unique alterations of the parachute that have been well documented by Earl Cossey, a veteran skydiver who owned and provided the parachutes in the 1971 hijacking. Greider and McCoy's children feel it's those small details that provide definitive evidence that tie Richard McCoy to D.B. Cooper hijacking. So he survived? That's what I'm getting out of this? He actually survived and then did that follow-up heist? This man's a superhuman. He should have been recruited by Stan Lee. Let me see what the parachute looked like.
We just solved it.
That's a mic drop right there. I love that. Man's fiddling with his parachute and he's like, you know what? Nah, that's checkmate. We solved it.
Of video footage and traipsed around an investigation, and I produced DB Cooper Part 1. That video did very well and up and on the air, and convinced a lot of people. In my opinion, Richard Floyd McCoy was definitely DB Cooper. Because of DB Cooper Part 1, I got 2 phone calls. Huge phone calls.
That's so cool, man. Good for him. I think he probably did crack it. Based on what I've read here, I think he actually got it. DB Cooper was Richard Floyd McCoy, and he somehow survived that jump. I don't understand how. The Lord chose him to be his warrior. I don't know, man. People have been claiming to know who DB Cooper is for years. Yeah, but he's right. If you know the story of DB Cooper, you will know that the parachute is known exactly what they gave him, and he's claiming to have that exact parachute here. The FBI seems to be thinking so as well. The family of Richard Floyd McCoy also seems to think so and has thought so for a while. I don't know. It's pretty overwhelming amount of evidence, to be honest. Physical evidence as well as testimonial evidence. They have his log dates, and he committed a similar hijacking months later. Also true. I think that this is probably dead to rights here. He died in 1974. They still won't find him. It's been too long and the case has been tainted so much. Well, he's dead. They can find him. They can just go to his gravestone and arrest the corpse if they wanted to. But the evidence is overwhelming. Before this, who else did you think DB Cooper was? I don't remember all the people I thought it was. The main thing I've always believed is that he died. He didn't survive the jump. Most experts thought it impossible to even survive that jump. Fucking pitch black. The wind, like all of it, was a miracle to have survived, and I guess he did. McCoy's death is actually pretty crazy because he got sentenced to 45 years in prison and escaped by making a fake handgun out of toothpaste and stole a garbage truck with his fellow inmates. They committed a bank robbery together soon after, and he was killed in a shootout with the FBI. Didn't see that in his Wikipedia. I'm trying to quit smoking and I'm losing my mind. Hey, I'm wishing you the best with it. I've got a tip for you. Get hooked on something else, like League. You'll forget to smoke. You'll be too fucking angry at your teammates. Yeah, I played League earlier today, but I actually had fun. But I already know if I start actually playing League, it's gonna be fucking miserable. I smoke because I play League. Alright, try getting addicted to Magic the Gathering cards, then you won't be able to afford cigarettes. There you go. Desperation comes in all shapes and sizes, but this one is pretty unique. This is coming from a multi-billion-dollar corporation that seems to be panicking that no one's going to see their new movie. And those fears are pretty grounded because it's the Sony anti-hero Spider-Man franchise, Hold the Spider-Man, that has delivered some really impressive failures over the last 2 years. Starting, of course, with Morbius. God bless, who could forget? That movie started an entire movement and delivered a timeless classic that would be laughed at for eons to come, where Sony actually re-released Morbius after the initial flop, only for it to flop again because they believed the memes that people actually loved it and that they needed to try again. And in 2024, they said, you want to see us do it again? They put out another film that can make a championship run to the title of Worst Film of the Year, Madam Web. Now, unfortunately, Madam Web is not the worst film of the year. That honor still belongs to Borderlands. Madam Web is second place right now, but Sony still has one more trick up their sleeve, one more super stinker up their ass that they're willing to pop out onto the big screen. Kraven the Hunter. It's a film no one was asking for, and it's a film whose trailers got 0 people excited. And Sony seems to be picking up on this, so they're trying a very interesting marketing push where just an hour ago, they released the entire 8-minute intro onto YouTube for free. And it looks like something I would have watched on Putlocker 10 years ago, like a pirated copy of Kraven the Hunter. I'll give you a full review of the 8 minutes they released here, because trust me, it's jam-packed. I raised my testosterone levels, pretty sure there's a lot of extra hair on my chest now from it. But I do want to dive into a bit more of the nitty-gritty with how Sony's been handling Craven and everything they're doing to try and get people to go see it. Before even getting into that, though, I do want to make a quick mention. Godslap, the hardcover signed version, is almost gone, so if you've been desperate to get your hands on our comic series Godslap, this is the best way of doing it. It's volumes 1 through 5, all in a beautiful hardcover and signed by yours truly and the rest of the team. It's available at badegg.co. It's clear that Sony is smelling the fumes of failure here with this one, since no one's talking about it, there's no buzz. And it seems like they don't have a lot of confidence that their marketing was effective, so it's probably not tracking that well, which is why they're releasing the 8 minutes here. I don't know if it's necessarily confidence in the product, where they think the first 8 minutes is so strong that it's going to have people fucking frothing at the mouth like zombies lining up to purchase Craven tickets. I feel like it's more like, okay, we dropped the ball with marketing. We have a pretty bad reputation right now with the Sony lack of Spider-Man verse. Let's just try this Hail Mary of a full 8-minute opening sequence drop. Hopefully that'll help. But credit where credit's due, I actually really like that maneuver. It's only a positive thing, because you can watch this and be like, okay, that's not for me, and save yourself some money, or you can watch this and be like, that's the shit I've been looking for. That's the chemical X to the formula I've been trying to find. Like, that's a good thing. I don't think it's going to, ruin the film for anyone that you see the first 8 minutes, right? Like, no one flipped over their desk in anger like, now it's all spoiled. And I think that's cool. And it's not unique to Craven either. So if you go to Sony's YouTube channel there, they have 8 to 10 minute previews for a ton of their catalog, which I had no idea they did. I just learned that today with this shit. I really like that. I'd give that a fucking gold star on the report card, because you're showing consumers a little more of the product so they can make a decision on whether or not it's worth their money. Especially because ticket prices are pretty fucking expensive right now. I've talked about this on stream, but a single ticket to my local theater to see a movie in just normal theater, nothing crazy, not IMAX, not Dolby, not Atmos, Cosmos, Wanda, none of that like crazy stuff. It's $15. Like, that's not nothing. So yeah, definitely a good thing. A big Billy Mitchell thumbs up from me on this. But it doesn't change the fact that Sony seems very desperate in regards to Craven the Hunter. When you're dealing with the Sony lack of Spider-Man verse, you gotta try everything to sell some fucking tickets to those goddamn things. So this is their latest in trying to convince people to go see it. They also had the director come out saying, give the film a chance, which is never really a good sign when you have to have the director publicly begging, pleading with potential moviegoers to just try the film, openly acknowledging that there's uncertainty in the franchise and that it's been a little subpar. Next week, they'll probably bring out a hypnotist to try and publicly brainwash people into buying a ticket to Craven. They're trying every tactic in the book. And with this one, they're just gonna let the chess speak for itself. They have the whole intro here. The first minute is just like the title card sequences. And then... Hold on. Craven's hunting a sneeze in my nostrils. It's gone. I won that fight. So anyway, like the first minute is just like the intro and everything, or the titles and everything, and then it starts. So really you're getting about 7 minutes worth of meat here from Craven. And overall, it's not great, but things happen, which is more than anyone can say for Madam Web and Morbius. So Craven is in a prison, and he is hunting a Russian bad guy. So he's in this Russian prison, and he's badass. And you know he's badass because they show you a really cool scene where he's doing a bench press with a lot of weight, and 2 ne'er-do-wells come over to him looking to cause a ruckus, saying that that's a private area. So they get on top of the bar, they're pushing on the bar, pushing it to his chest, and Craven goes, "Hoo!" and he lifts them both up, and they're like, oh? And then he drops the bar and slams their head against it. So he's very strong. And then he gets asked to go see the boss, like the boss wants to see him. He calls him into the fucking principal's office, and that's the villain that our anti-hero is hunting. Now, when it comes to anti-heroes and Sony, that shit does not mix. That is fart on top of pee. Those are 2 separate things. Sony does not understand the concept of an anti-hero. They have shown that in a big way. And this 8-minute sequence doesn't really show him as an anti-hero. It just shows him as a good guy who doesn't mind killing. So, like, an effective hero, really. I think they thought that by making it R-rated and having gore, that would be his anti-hero trait, that he kills people and they bleed. But from what I see here and what all the trailers have shown, he's still just a good guy. Which is fine, but it's not a fucking anti-hero at all. So anyway, he's face-to-face with a villain, and they do a little exposition dump where he goes, "Do you know who I am?" And he says, "Yes, you're the bad guy who gives people guns, and those guns are used to kill thousands of men, women, and children." And he goes, "Ha ha ha! Yes." Well, he doesn't like let out a big laugh like that, but he goes like, "Ah, so you do know who I am." And then Kraven starts petting this rug that he has that has the head of a tiger on it, and he rips out the tooth of the tiger, stabs a guy in the leg, and then stabs him in the neck. Another guy tries to run away, and he super strength shoves him against a wall, and I guess he dies because you don't see him again, but he just gets like ragdolled off screen. And then he goes to the big guy on top of his desk, and he goes bang, 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 stabs him with the tiger tooth, and then he escapes the prison and then leaves on a plane. It's really not bad. It's not amazing or anything. Him running away is a little silly because he like starts like drifting on all fours while like running, and he's dodging a bunch of bullets and stuff. Like, it's pretty standard cliche like action hero stuff where he's running away from gunfire, and then he gets on the plane and leaves. But it is significantly better than anything from Morbius and Madame Web so far. I'm a little more optimistic that it'll be at least entertaining. Like, I don't think it'll be a slog or like a chore to sit through. So, yeehaw there. But I'm not sold that it's actually going to be, you know, great or anything like that. I also just have to mention, there are a lot of cuts in this. It's not looking smooth. It's not to, you know, take in 3 levels with 15 fucking cuts in 3 seconds when Liam Neeson jumps over a fence. It's not that egregious. But there are a lot of cuts that I noticed for this 8-minute sequence. That doesn't bode well for the rest of the film. If this is going to be how they shoot a lot of the action, it's a little disappointing. Disappointing's not really the right word, because it's not like I had any actual expectations of this film other than potentially just being fun bad. Like, from the first trailer, I thought there was a strong chance that this would be an entertainingly shit film. And I still think that's very much in the cards, but after watching this 8 minutes here, there's also a chance that it might just be somewhat entertaining on its own 2 legs. Again, nothing they show here is great, but it's competent. Like, it is more competent than Morbius and Madame Web at the very least. And I know we're really scratching the bottom of the barrel for compliments when I'm comparing these. Like, to say that Kraven is better than Madame Web, that's like saying pee is better than piss. Like, it's not, you're not saying much, but it's, you know, it's moving the needle in the right direction. It's watchable. At least this 8 minutes is. But I'm just so curious when, if ever, Sony will learn the lesson that the public has been screaming at them for years. That if you're going to make an anti-hero film, make the character a fucking anti-hero. Sony just makes heroes based off of anti-heroes. Like, there is nothing Morbius, Madame Web, or even Venom does that's even close to, like, anti-hero. They're still just straight up good guys. Like, they don't even get into the gray. And from this 8 minutes, it seems like that's the direction they're taking Kraven. Within the first 8 minutes, he says that he's hunting bad guys. He's just hunting a bad guy. You would have a much more unique film and a stronger chance of standing out if you actually just committed to having them be an anti-hero like they're supposed to be. And it seems studios are just really apprehensive about that. Like, we already saw it with Black Adam. It's just one of those things where they just can't even dip their toes into it, unfortunately. So then you're just left with another throwaway, forgettable superhero film. And it's looking like that's the path Kraven's going down. Again, it's 8 minutes, so it's hard to base the entire film off of that. But when you set up the character in 8 minutes to only be hunting villains, and one of the prison guards he throws off the railing, and I was like, oh, so he does, you know, kill some people that aren't just straight up villains. Well, no. When he throws the guard off the balcony, they make sure to show you that he lands on a little net in the prison. So like the prison has like a net that would stop prisoners from like jumping off and stuff like that. And the prison guard lands on that net, and you can even see in the background like standing up totally fine when Kraven is climbing away. So they're going out of their way to show you that Kraven is really only there for bad guys. Just because Kraven says fuck and actually kills the evil people, it doesn't make him an anti-hero. His potty mouth, his use of sailor words is not going to be enough for people to go, oh, this is actually a bad guy, but kind of heroic. No, he's just a fucking hero still. Like, come on. Anyway, though, I just had to talk about this a bit. This is the first I've learned about a movie of this size just dropping the entire intro ahead of its release to try and convince people to get tickets. And they are really trying their best to, like, almost throw a pity party to go see Kraven, like with begging people to give it a chance and stuff, and now just dropping this. So we'll see how it works out for them. I'm going to see it because I see like every movie that comes out for the most part, and I do still think this can be fun bad. So that's really about it. See ya. Recently learned about this guy called the Silver Lake Spankologist, and I can't tell if it's real. It's a 70-year-old doctor who spanks people to cure them. There's a video on YouTube. It's safe.
I'm a spankologist, and I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and I am about to introduce this young man to a session.
It sounds like a threat. Jesus Christ. Man, he looks like, what's his name, Dr. Kevorkian? Let's take a peek at spankology. I might not be familiar with this discipline of medicine. Neurospankology, the neuroscience of spanking. Here's something from 7 years ago from BuzzFeed called We Tried Spank Therapy. So this looks like a real thing. I'm using the term real thing so loosely. I just mean there are some people that practice it.
And what's your name?
My name is Brace. About an hour ago, I was bent over the waist of a 72-year-old, I believe, man wearing a doctor's coat, who used his hand as an implement of both healing and pain.
So be comfortable.
Okay.
As all the best medicine does.
Position here, so you can hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did most of the talking. We just kind of let him show us what he was all about.
Stand over here. Now look at this. Now this is how you get access.
I see. Yeah. You are touching him.
Okay, doctor, far be it from me to question a medical professional, but are we sure? Who's that helping? At the end, is it for her benefit or yours? Are you sure? You sure I can watch this here? This doesn't. I mean, it is medicine. At the end of the day, sometimes you got to do the dirty work of spanking a tuchus every now and then. Let me just skim through to make sure there's no like nudity. You can only do so much healing on a clothed bottom. We're going to need to take down her trousers here for this next procedure. She's got a lot of tension on her L4, and in order to relieve that, it's going to need to be skin-to-skin contact.
I came there to learn.
Here's the butthole here, and you're.
Oh, you're directly smacking the butthole.
Spanking actually cures people of high blood pressure, because
is that right?
Your butt will talk to you. Yeah, I mean, they talk to me.
They talk a lot of shit, I'll tell you that much.
What they can handle, what they can't.
Gotcha.
And I'm not a medical doctor,
well,
but I specialize in this particular area.
He's an asshole sorcerer.
This is not sexual. This is necessary.
What? You know, I just had maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe the reason I feel so fragile is I'm not having my brown balloon knot slapped enough. I need to book a spankology appointment.
His wife is the one that sending him.
and this is not sexual.
No.
Why do you caress it? How can that possibly help with the healing?
Looking for here.
Stress and stuff like that. You know.
No boner detected.
He had no boner detected when he spanked me.
I was more surprised that he was interested in my ass at all.
I don't think he's interested in it from a. I believe him.
Yeah.
She's got a good butt.
Thank you. I'm pretty open-minded as a person.
Does this guy have a website? Can I book an appointment? I'll go out to Silver Lake for a little spank session. What was it, Dr. Don? You have no ass, though? Yeah, which will be a fine challenge for him. Dr. Don will see my Hank Hill cheeks, and he'll be like, well, we're gonna have to figure something else out here. Then he'll start getting me with 1,000 years of pain spanks. Oh, no, he has a Facebook page. Oh, wow, wait, he's in LA. He'd ask you to leave. He bends me over his leg and he's like, you think this is a joke? You come to my sacred facility with these? Get out. Get out, scoundrel. It was like slapping therapy, but kinky. Yeah. They must come from the same discipline. I can't find any info on how I'd possibly book an appointment, but I am so curious. He does have a book, it's called Red Tail Bible? Oh yeah, you're right. Red Tail Bible from Dr. Don Edwards. For someone who's been involved in the world of BDSM for over 30 years, there's one particular thing that was missing when it came to adult spanking, and that's the specialty of male-to-male adult spanking. What? You just said this wasn't sexual, and you immediately referenced BDSM for your book? I don't know what to believe. Is this not supposed to be therapeutic? It's supposed to relieve high blood pressure, Don. I also appreciate that he was investigating, like, he wasn't just in there, you know, lollygagging. He was in there trying to get down to the brass tacks. He was checking for boners. He was spreading his cheeks. Like, man was doing the due diligence. Don is a professional. He's got a couple books. So he's got the Red Tail Bible, which is about the spanking. He's got another one called Behind Closed Doors, The Secrecy of Darkness. If you've been spanked as a child and remember it was not fun, but lately you've been hearing more and more about adult spanking as part of a foreplay or brought up in playful conversation and start to wonder, now that you're an adult, how it may feel to either spank someone else or be spanked. How many books have you written on spanking, man? Here's another one. Spiral Dynamics in Action, Humanity's Master Code, Russian edition. I don't... How does this relate to spanking? Well, let me skim through. I'll have to watch the whole documentary on my own, but I want to skim through just a little bit. So it looks like they spend the day getting to know Dr. Don, and the spanking therapy is mainly just, like, the start of it. That got them interested in this really interesting character.
About history, do you think things could have gone differently if they had been spanked? Obviously, Hitler, but
If I could spank any president, it'd probably be John Kennedy.
do you think Oswald acted alone?
Oswald, well, I don't even think Oswald did it.
Okay, let's talk about this.
Well, it went straight in. Yeah,
Asking the hard-hitting questions. It's about goddamn time. So then they get, oh man, they get deep. Like, this is what happens when you get spanked. You start opening up your third eye. And that's important. This is more than just relieving of high blood pressure. This is an awakening. Are we sure this is real? I mean, dude's written 2 books on it and he's selling the books. It seems like he's kind of based his whole life around his spankology. This also seems like it's kind of old. Like, this was posted 3 months ago, but I'm pretty sure this video is far older. At least based on this, because Dr. Don hasn't had a spankology session that I can track in quite a while. He's just getting so many bookings he can't keep it updated. That could be it. Well, this was an interesting little rabbit hole. I'm going to finish this documentary later. It's such an interesting character. Put his website in the Wayback Machine, and the quote that pops up is, "Bend over and take it like a man." Dr. Don, you dirty dog. There's a lot I want to talk about here after seeing what happened at Twitchcon last night with Emiru being assaulted by a rogue lunatic fan who just walked completely unimpeded past the line at her meet and greet and unconsensually hugged her and looked like tried to kiss her, which is textbook assault. And it's very scary that it was able to happen so easily here. He was shoved off by a security guard, but then he just walked away.
Whoa. shit, what the fuck was that?
You're a creep!
What the?
The full clip goes on for about a minute and a half longer, but you've now seen the entire security presence here for the Emiru meet and greet. One person. One security guard. I have seen a stronger security presence at my dilapidated local Winn-Dixie. This is fucking crazy. One guy. And also, worth mentioning, it's not Emiru's preferred bodyguard from what I understand.
I had a security guard 2 years ago where there was a guy following me around Twitchcon, and he like asked him to stop multiple times. My guard asked him and the guy wouldn't stop, so he grabbed the guy, but he didn't like hurt him. He was just holding the guy until like the con security came. And then for some reason they're like, yeah, because your security guard touched him, he's like perma-banned from the venue forever. But he didn't even hit him or anything. He just like held him while they waited for like the police to come. And,
what the fuck?
And it was like my favorite security guard. I can't have him at TwitchCon anymore.
Now, as I was rendering this video, Emiru posted an update to everything to shed light on everything that happened. And this bodyguard you see push that guy is someone she hired. It's not her first round draft pick or anything. It is not her preferred bodyguard, but it's who she was allowed to bring. And she was surrounded is a word I'm using, very loosey-goosey. There was like a couple of other Twitch-provided Fiverr security drones elsewhere that just didn't react at all. The only one who did something was the one she hired. We're going to be going through her statement quite a bit here, but she's giving an update to let people know that she's okay and thankful for the outpouring of support. The guy had crossed multiple barriers, even in front of other creators, to grab and try and kiss her, which he was unsuccessful at doing, thanks to being pushed off. She then says that she doesn't understand how he was allowed to get that far in the first place, and that the security that does react is her own, confirming that it's not her usual security guard since he was banned. She then says that there were 3 to 4 other TwitchCon security who didn't react and even let him walk away, which, again, is something you can confirm by watching the clip, that he just walks away completely unimpeded. The woman who was walking me away is also her own personal manager. It's not even event staff, which I thought it was event staff. Turns out it's not. The only 2 people who were checking on her and comforting her were her and her friend. Not even Twitch staff was coming to check on her. There's more in her statement we're going to get to in a moment, but I want to go in chunks here. So, I thought it was one security guard and then a couple of event staff that you could see in the clip. Turns out it's one security guard she brought, and then no event staff. It's just her manager and her friend. So where the fuck is TwitchCon security or staff at all here? They just let this guy walk up to her and did nothing, and even just let him get away after assaulting her too. Again, I still cannot even believe they banned the security guard that she wanted to bring and had brought in the past that did successfully prevent a potential threat from harming her. It's so fucked up, and I truly can't understand the thought process behind their decision to ban him in the first place. He did his job properly. He held the potential threat until authorities arrived. What else are you supposed to do? That's like the #1 thing. You're supposed to stop the threat. And that sounds like exactly what he did here. I think maybe Twitch was concerned that he used excessive force or something because he grabbed him. What? Like, what do they think? He put him into a headlock and then hit him with an atomic power bomb into a fucking tombstone pile driver and then a Frankensteiner on the way out? Like, what do they think happened there? Now, I've read mixed things on who's responsible for that bodyguard being banned, whether it was Twitch or the venue TwitchCon is held at. But regardless of who's responsible for the ban, the fact that he is forbidden from being there because of being good at his job is just unacceptable. This guy walks past this entire line, literally just fucking fee-fi-fo-fums through the whole line here at the meet and greet, and assaults Emiru. Nobody stopped him when he was cutting through the line, and it wasn't until he had already assaulted Emiru that he got pushed off. And then he didn't even get stopped or anything by additional security because there was only that one guy that was there as like a bodyguard. Like, I don't know, I would just kind of expect after a fucking assault just unfolded here, there would be a big response from the TwitchCon security personnel. Like coming over here throwing like a spike strip down or like at least throwing a banana peel down so he slips and falls on it so they can apprehend him. But I didn't see any of that happen. Nothing at all, just fucking crickets. Just tumbleweed rolling through here. Like, he just walked away. Apparently he did get ID'd like after this happened later, because Twitch made a statement, which we'll go through in a minute, and it sounds like they ID'd the guy and everything. But this is a complete failure on Twitch's shoulders here for their event. They banned her preferred bodyguard, whom has previously demonstrated the ability to stop something like this from happening, and instead supplied non-existent TwitchCon security around her meet and greet, and forced her to hire a different bodyguard, one that wasn't nearly as efficient as the one that she typically uses and wanted to have present here to protect her. And just stew on this for a moment, because when you break it down, TwitchCon security literally did nothing. Not only did they not stop the guy before he assaulted Emiru, again, it could have even been a murder or something if he had like a weapon or something. He was not stopped despite plenty of, ample opportunity for them to intervene. Not only did they not stop him, after it happened, they didn't even pursue him. The only one who acted at all, that one security guard, was not a TwitchCon security guard. It was someone Emiru hired, a bodyguard she hired. That was the only person that acted at all. And the only people that checked on Emiru were her team. No one on the TwitchCon event side of things, apparently, according to Emiru. So that means at TwitchCon, the security didn't do anything at all, nor did the event staff do anything to even check on her after this happened. Holy shit. That is inexcusable. I've talked about events and stuff in the past. I've never been to TwitchCon. I have no plans of ever going to TwitchCon or anything even remotely similar to it. And I've always expressed, A, I don't think I'd have fun, and B, I'm always worried about events like that, like legitimate safety concerns. Ever since the Christina Grimmie tragedy, where she was murdered at a meet and greet, I just have a huge hesitation with this kind of thing. Because you never really know who's there and what security looks like. I know prior to TwitchCon, apparently there was a big emphasis on Twitch's side of beefing up their security. I'm not seeing that at all. The proof is not in the pudding here from what I'm seeing. It's extremely concerning that this creep was able to just walk up slowly, mind you. It's not like he charged the stage or something, with a fucking 4-second 40 where they couldn't respond in time. He slowly, calmly walked past everyone. Security, event staff, no one stopped him at all. Like, shit, I got stopped more often trying to go to a lacrosse party in college. Like, they were more vigilant about stopping people from getting into a fucking party, let alone, the actual safety of the guests here at this event. It is just crazy to me because this guy could have had a weapon. He absolutely could have had a weapon. It is just dangerous. It is dangerous, and it's a complete failure on Twitch's part here. Now, like I said, they did make a statement about this. The safety and security of all those attending TwitchCon is our highest priority. The behavior displayed by the individual involved in the incident yesterday involving a high-profile streamer was completely unacceptable and deeply upsetting. In line with existing TwitchCon security protocols, law enforcement and event security were on site and responded to the incident. When? In 7 business days? Where were they? Because, again, in the longer clip, it's 2.5 minutes, and he just walks away. You can see him leaving, and maybe I missed it, but I didn't see anyone stopping him at any point. We immediately blocked this individual from returning to the TwitchCon premises, and they are banned indefinitely from Twitch, both online and in-person events. We're coordinating with the impacted creators team, and per our standard protocols, continue to cooperate with any law enforcement investigations. We have increased security at the meet and greet attendee check-in point, and we'll have additional security personnel surrounding participating streamers. If you've RSVP'd for a meet and greet, please note that we are unable to accommodate +1s for the remainder of the event. Twitch has zero tolerance for harassment or acts that inhibit the safety and security of our community. Like I said, based on their statement here, it sounds as though they ID'd the guy responsible for this assault here, mentioning that he's been banned on Twitch and from the events. It sounds like there's also going to be additional follow-ups, I believe. That's how it read to me. Now, as a result of the assault that Emiru experienced at their event, they are going to be having a stronger security presence at further meet and greets that are scheduled. The question begs to be asked, why wasn't that an emphasis beforehand? You're saying that safety was your top priority, yet it's very clear, very evident in this clip that there's not a lot of security there. So what are you doing about safety? I don't understand. If safety is such a high priority, where's security? Why, I don't know why it's so lackluster then if it's such a high priority. And again, this is a huge streamer. Emiru is one of the biggest streamers. What does security look like for streamers that aren't her size? I genuinely have no idea. It's a legitimate question I'm asking because, again, Emiru is like one of the biggest streamers, and TwitchCon didn't have like any adequate security presence at her meet and greet. What does it look like for a smaller streamer doing a meet and greet? Did they provide anything at all to them? And also, what they do provide is basically anyway, nothing. The security didn't act at all here. So now let's go back to Emiru's statement, because she says something very interesting here about Twitch's statement. In Twitch's statement, they said that the guy was immediately caught and detained. I'm sorry, but that is a blatant lie. He was allowed to walk away from my meet and greet, and I didn't hear he was caught until hours after he attacked me, and it felt like this only happened because of my manager pressing for it, not because TwitchCon staff present thought it was a big deal. She mentions there's more she wants to talk about on it, but I'll save it for stream. She then goes on to thank people for the support and confirms that this will be her last TwitchCon, which I think is completely understandable. I think other creators should seriously consider not attending in the future. I did not feel cared for or protected, even bringing my own security and staff. I can't imagine how creators without those options would feel. So according to Emiru's statement here, she believes that the guy wasn't like immediately caught and ID'd by TwitchCon staff or anything like that. And in fact, it wasn't until her manager pressed them for action that they did anything at all. That's unhinged. They didn't want to, you know, jump into action after a fucking assault just took place? I just don't get it. That's completely unhinged. It almost feels like maybe they're more angry about Emiru's bodyguard there shoving the guy. Like maybe they're thinking about banning him from Twitch events in the future or something. Like it doesn't seem like their priority is safety. If they were going to just let this guy walk away until Emiru's manager had to force their hand to do something, this is just not a safe environment. And this isn't a new criticism of TwitchCon. This has been consistently something that people have spoken out about for years with TwitchCon. Like, I'm sure a lot of you have heard the horror stories that have been reported numerous times in the past at previous TwitchCons about like drink spiking or like the lack of security present, stuff like that. It has been something that people have mentioned numerous times, and every time Twitch tries to assure the community that, you know, they're really taking security seriously this time around. This time, you know, it's fucking locked down. There's going to be no issues. And like clockwork, there's always seemingly some kind of big security concern or something that arises at TwitchCon. It's just, I don't understand how they're not doing anything to, like, remedy it. Even in this, which is, again, supposed to be, like, their big year of security, like, because they made a huge, you know, stance on how strong they're going to be with security this year and how seriously they're taking it, how seriously they're going to take it, and then day one of TwitchCon, Emiru gets assaulted. And then, in this clip, it really seems like there's not a lot of security there. And if there is, like, off-camera, a bunch of security, they're not very efficacious. They're not very good at stopping a legitimate threat. Like I said, this guy's intentions could have been to murder Emiru here. He could have had a weapon, and he wasn't even stopped. He got all the way to her and assaulted her before he was finally shoved off. Like, there is a real problem. And according to Emiru, it's actually even worse than that on the TwitchCon security side, where they didn't even, like, want to go after the guy until they were forced to by Emiru's team pressing them for it. So not only did the assault happen under their watch, where they had ample chances to stop that guy, but none of the handful of security that was around intervened in any way, and then didn't do anything to pursue the criminal. That's a crime. Like, that's a crime, and they were just gonna let him get away with that. It's complete lunacy. Emiru mentions that event staff didn't, like, check on her or anything. What you saw was her team checking on her and, you know, making sure everything's okay. So, what is TwitchCon, like, where are the event staff and security then? So they don't even check on someone who was just assaulted? They don't even go and see, like, what just happened? Like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Nothing at all? Like, that's crazy. It does not feel like safety is a huge priority at TwitchCon. What happened to Emiru is terrible, and it shouldn't have happened at all. It shouldn't happen to her or anybody attending TwitchCon. Another thing I want to briefly mention here. Apparently, Emiru didn't even want to do the meet and greet. She was obligated to in order to keep her show.
So I had to cancel my meet and greet because of the stuff, but in order to, I can't cancel my meet and greet and not cancel her show because of the fact that the reason I cancel my meet and greet is I don't want to be in the same place for 2 hours. Because of people being weird.
Okay.
And then I'm under contract with them, so I can't cancel one and not cancel the other.
Interesting. Oh.
So I'm sorry,
I kept my meet and greet because I wanted to keep my show. Surely it'll be fine.
I'm sorry, Emmy.
I'm sure everyone will be nice.
It sounds like it was a contractual obligation that if Emmy Rue wanted to keep that show, she would have to do this meet and greet, which is something it doesn't seem like she wanted to do, but was trying to approach it with optimism about people, you know, being nice and not being weird. Unfortunately, that's just not how things panned out. And it's crazy. She didn't even want to do this meet and greet. It's something that it seems Twitch was requiring her to do in order to keep the other thing that she actually did want, unrelated to the meet and greet. So she decides to oblige and do this meet and greet, and Twitch doesn't even do the bare minimum of giving her adequate security to protect her. Holy shit. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's about it. See ya. I learned about this on stream and made fun of it for a little bit, but I didn't realize just how big of a story this had become, with people still talking about it and upset about it to this day. It's DC proudly announcing that they are making a Harley Quinn fart comic, which also apparently has a special variant that will be a scratch and sniff, so you can smell her flatulence firsthand. Though I haven't seen any confirmations from an official source about a scratch and sniff variant, though it does seem like a no-brainer layup. If you're already going to be making fart fetish comic, you might as well give it the olfactory capability so you can deliver the Methodist right to the nostrils, which I think is far more pathetic than buying an e-girl's bathwater. This is apparently supposed to be like an April Fool's joke that they're announcing many months before April, and it also comes out late March, not on April 1st, and it's also an April Fool's joke you're paying for. It also just so happens to be prime fetish material for those with a fart fetish, which may be few in number, but they are proud, and they do have money. And I did a little more digging today because I got thinking about it after I saw more people discussing it, and it really is so weird. But before diving into the Methodist of Harley's asshole, I'd like to let you all know that I am more accurate with predictions than Baba Vanga, because 6 years ago, I became aware of this genre of Harley Quinn fart porn. I made a piece of content covering it. I didn't foresee that DC would give their official stamp of approval and make it a licensed product of peddling Harley Quinn fart porn, but I saw the writing on the walls. Like all the great astronomers before me, I looked into the stars and I saw ass. And that ass was farting, and it was Harley Quinn the whole time. I knew something was coming. I just didn't know exactly what. But I saw the first snowball that has now been turned into an avalanche of Harley Quinn fart porn.
That jalapeno chili's talking back at me. I'll be stinking this place up soon enough.
No, you're bluffing. Jesus Christ, Harley, show some mercy. Gotham is doomed. Come on, goddammit, I'm ready. Play me a song on that rectum radio.
I'm the worst of the worst. Ooh, wow. My asshole's talking some serious shit right now.
Right.
Pay up, B-man. Gas ain't free.
As I mentioned in that video, I couldn't show any of the footage anymore because she does get nude, so it is bare butt cheeks spreading pink eye through the camera. But yeah, I was there with patient zero here. So I knew that this community existed. I just didn't think DC would ever try to directly appeal to it. But they are. So let's go into the upcoming Harley Quinn fart comic. We get a sizzler reel here, a little bit of hype up for the comic. This is the synopsis, more or less. I've been holding in all my very worst bits of bubble guts for the last 32 years. Jiminy Christmas. It's worse than I could have ever imagined. There really is no hope for Gotham. And it's all been leading up to this epic expulsion. Your nose will never be the same. You'll gag. You'll cry. You'll feel things you ain't never felt before. This fine publication is a celebration of all things past, present, and future. Sequential art's place in the annals of history is about to change with the release of Harley Quinn's Fartacular, Silent But Deadly. A comic that promises to have the highest concentration of gas per page, GPP, ever committed to print. Emphasis on committed, because everyone who worked on this comic is getting thrown into Dr. Fartley's home for no good gassy gals and guys. Read the comic that Abraham Lincoln called A Joy from Fart to Finish moments before he died. Warning, we aren't kidding. If you're grossed out by farts, then this comic isn't for you, and that's perfectly okay, though I am judging you. Unless you want to put your feelings to the test, in which case this comic is for you. Proudly written by Joanne Starer, perhaps? I'm not quite sure how to say the last name. This is a real comic that's coming out. I've seen a lot of people saying that it's all baloney. Don't believe the lies. It's horseradish. There's no Harley Quinn fart comic. That's ludicrous. Well, it is real. This is actually coming out next year. And it's shaping up to be the most talked about 2025 comic release that we know of so far. And I think that's exactly what DC was looking for, is just a bunch of headlines, because this is just so over the top ridiculous that I'm sure they knew that people would generate buzz with this. But is that really buzz you want? It's just kind of embarrassing. Like, as a gag gift, if you released it on April 1st as like a post on Twitter or something, it would still be kind of cringe, but not nearly as bad as this, where it is like an actual publication, like a production you're putting money behind and selling. I don't know. I tend to agree with the people that think that this is just dumb, because it is. Like, I always appreciate really silly, over-the-top things, but this is just, it's gooner material. Yeah, you could obviously hide behind the shield of, no, it's clearly just a gag gift, it's a joke, you know? But it's also a fetish. Like, this isn't, you know, the most popular fetish in the world, of course, but it is still one with a sizable community, and the proof is in the pudding. There is a whole genre of Harley Quinn fart porn, of which I have seen. I have peered into the abyss, the chocolate starfish abyss. So what you are making is a piece of official DC fetish slop. Which, if that's the direction you want to go, I mean, I'm not the CEO of your company, go hog wild, I guess, but it is weird. Harley Quinn breaking wind, Gooners busting nuts. So anyway, yeah, a bit odd. Wanted to talk about it briefly, that's it. See ya. $500 billion. Does that number even mean anything to you? It is so astronomically high that it almost feels fake. It just sounds make-believe, like made-up doubloons. Now, me being the turbo genius I am, I can process that number. In fact, it also happens to be how many wrinkles are in my big brain. Check this out. I just passed one hand through the other, and you'll never be able to figure out how I did it. $500 billion also happens to be how much money Nvidia just lost yesterday after DeepSeek slung its meat onto the scene. DeepSeek is a Chinese AI company that, in many cases, is actually more sophisticated than current AI models that we use, and it's open source. So this puppy fucking exploded onto the scene, #1 in the App Store. Everyone's gushing grannies over it because it is unbelievable. I learned about it a little bit last night on stream, but I've been doing a deep dive on it today. It is crazy, the scope of this, and just how far along this technology is already getting. Nvidia wasn't the only one that got hit with the frying pan. Yesterday, a huge blow to the stock market occurred because of DeepSeek. It is, like, it can't be overstated just how big of a deal this technology is. And the fact that it's open source is also massive. Now, it's worth mentioning, as of making this video, Nvidia stock has rebounded in a big way, like $260 billion. And it's probably only going to keep pumping, it seems. But I mean, it's like they're just grabbing Xbox 360 achievements at this point. Largest collapse in a single day, and largest rebound in a single day. But it is still a huge deal, and that hit they took wasn't, you know, for no reason, and the rebound isn't for no reason either. But I think Nvidia is going to need to directly compete with DeepSeek now, because DeepSeek has proven they don't need to just, or you don't need to just keep buying top-of-the-line equipment, you know, more and more powerful chips to get this top-of-the-line performance. You can get that top-of-the-line performance without the biggest, baddest chips on the market. Yeah, almost $500 billion just got annihilated. It's like me in Path of Exile 2 when gambling, just losing all of my divine orbs. That just happened to Nvidia. Nvidia shares tanked 17%. The company lost a record $589 billion in market cap. Holy. Wow. Oh, man. Oh, their biggest shareholder went from 124 billion to 103 billion. He's in poverty like the rest of us now. How's he gonna survive? Yikes. Fucking brokey. Oracle also got hit hard. Start a GoFundMe for him? Yeah, we should. Chinese artificial intelligence company DeepSeek grabbing American attention and sending shockwaves through Wall Street due to its new tech, which some experts say rival that of OpenAI's ChatGPT. It's also catching investors off guard because of the low development costs for its API app, which Wedbush security analyst Dan Ives pegged at only $6 million. By comparison, OpenAI, Google, and other major US companies are on track to invest a total of roughly $1 trillion in AI over the coming years. Oh my god. These numbers just don't even feel real anymore. It just seems like actual nothing numbers, like fucking RuneScape gold. Now, to briefly explain why DeepSeek has just kind of fucking cowabunged onto the scene here and just administered a clobberin to some of the big boys in the industry, it's because its claims of how much more efficient it is, and its claims that they can back up. It uses cheaper chips, less powerful chips, so it's able to have a performance that matches, or even in some cases exceeds, AI that we currently have, while using much cheaper chips. So, obviously people are looking at this as, oh, well, maybe we don't need the creme de la creme top-of-the-line GPUs from NVIDIA. You know, if we're able to have DeepSeek here that is so efficient, utilizing cheaper chips. On its Chinese site, DeepSeek blamed large-scale malicious attacks on its service, requiring it to temporarily limit new registrations. Existing users can log in as usual. It rivals OpenAI's ChatGPT and Meta's Llama 3.1. It was #1 on Apple App Store over the weekend. It's built the model using reduced capability chips from NVIDIA, which is impressive and thus has caused major agita for US tech stock. High praise. DeepSeek R1 is one of the most amazing and impressive breakthroughs I've ever seen, and as an open source, a profound gift to the world. So what does that mean? Who is this mysterious open source? Well, it means that, let's say I wanted DeepSeek. I could go get my grubby little paws on it and just download the model myself if my hardware was strong enough to run it. I imagine a lot of people aren't going to have hardware that's strong enough to run DeepSeek, but if you did, you could just hop on over and download the whole model and run it on your hardware. Now, as was mentioned in that article, they are claiming that there was a big cybersecurity attack on them, so they had to halt signups. But if you already had an account, you can still access DeepSeek. And from everything I've seen and read from those that do have access and have been using DeepSeek, it's very impressive. This isn't just a lot of phony baloney hype. It really is comparable to ChatGPT. And, of course, it is a Chinese AI app. Thus, there is censorship. Big time. I've seen the biggest one, no surprise, Winnie the Pooh, which just always makes me giggle. You can't even mention Winnie the Pooh in Marvel Rivals. That is like the ultimate sin. Like, if you say Winnie the Pooh in Marvel Rivals, they probably write down your gamer tag and store it somewhere in like this, you know, off-site hit list at the Marvel Rivals devs headquarters or something. And it's the same here with DeepSeek. I saw a few people goofing around with it, talking about Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping, and the model, in all the instances I saw, would not spit out anything for you. It wouldn't even noodle around with it. And in one case I saw it said that it was beyond its parameters. Winnie the Pooh and the Thousand Acre Wood is just too powerful for AI to comprehend. Too much honey. And in other cases I saw that it would talk about Winnie the Pooh, but if you tried to connect Winnie the Pooh to Xi Jinping, then it would apologize and say that it can't really get into that. It just, you know, slam on the brakes there. Were you holding any NVIDIA? I am not in the stock market, so no. Though I might get into the stock market now just to buy NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA already had a statement. DeepSeek is an excellent AI advancement and a perfect example of test time scaling. DeepSeek's work illustrates how new models can be created using that technique, leveraging widely available models and compute that is fully export control compliant. Most groundbreaking thing about the AI is that it's cheaper to run, it can do the same things faster / as fast using less power and resources. That's the impressive part. Well, not only that, it being open source is big. You can run this AI on a toaster, it's game-changing. You can download the large language model easily and use it privately on your computer. It no longer has insane power requirement. This whole thing is so fascinating to me. This is a company that has produced something for a handful of millions. From what I've read, it's like $6 million is what all up this has costs. And it is rivaling and even exceeding some of the other big boys on the block that cost billions. It's unbelievable, really. And I'm so curious to see how this continues to evolve. And the reason I harp on the open source so much is that I just always think that is such a step in the right direction to pushing industries, like the actual advancement of this kind of tech. Instead of like hoarding the Krabby Patty secret formula, the recipe or anything, by giving everyone access to it, especially when access to it is much easier because it's so much more efficient, more people can utilize it because they won't need such absurd computational power to use it. It's just, I'm just very curious to see where it goes, really. Yeah, I'll be keeping my eye on it, as I imagine most people in the world will be. It's a pretty fucking big deal. That's about it. See ya. Even if you're not into sports at all, I'm confident you've heard of the madness that just unfolded last night. The most stunning, out-of-nowhere, shocking trade in the history of sports, I believe, has just happened. Luka Doncic has been traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. It sounds make-believe. This is a more stunning trade than if the Lakers announced they were trading Austin Reeves for me, Charles White. Swear to God, I could have gone pro if not for this old trick knee. Point is, though, this is a trade nobody saw coming and nobody knew about. Luka didn't know. Nobody knew. It's not like Luka was asking for a trade. They just did this behind closed doors in the shadows and hushed whispers. This news broke while I was doing a watch party for the World Championship to support our Apex team. And when people were talking about it a little bit, buzzing, I thought for sure they had just fallen victim to the classic ball sack sports. I thought they had been sacked. This feels like a fake headline, and Luka to the Lakers has been a meme for probably close to 2 years now because it's so outrageous. It's so silly as a concept that it has become a joke until it wasn't. Now Luka is officially a Laker and Anthony Davis is a Maverick. Now I think by now a lot of you know this. I played basketball for 10 years, we've been on like a 5-month hiatus, but was still actively playing pickup games at least twice a week. And I've been keeping up with the NBA loosely. My team is the Heats. God bless. Lord have mercy. Point is, the reason I'm dropping my resume here like I'm interviewing for a job or I'm posting on LinkedIn is to let you all know that I understand just how big of a deal this fucking trade is and just how weird and wacky it is. No exaggeration, even Baba Vanga would have been powerless with this kind of prediction. There is nobody on the planet that would have expected this kind of trade. Because why would you trade Luka? He's 25 years old, the face of the Mavericks. He has put that team on his fucking back. He is a spring chicken in his prime. It's not like he's falling off and he's turning to dust before our eyes, like he's, not able to compete at the highest level. He is still a generational talent performing unbelievably well. And yet they're just parting ways with him now instead of making him the franchise player that he is, really. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know what's happening at the Dallas Mavericks HQ. Maybe Leonardo DiCaprio's in there and he had a say saying, Luka's getting a little old now, guys. He hit 25. We got to kick him the fuck out. I don't really understand this decision. In the midst of all of this, people have pointed to a Mark Cuban tweet where he said, "If I had to choose between my wife and keeping Luka on the Mavs, catch me at my lawyer's office prepping for a divorce." And then people scratching their head wondering why he's singing such a different song now. I bet there are few people on the planet more heartbroken by this trade than Mark Cuban. When he got this alert on his phone, he probably fell to his fucking knees, slamming his fist on the ground and covering himself in tears in the middle of a TJ Maxx. Because I guarantee he did not want this. But people don't remember that Mark Cuban is no longer the one that has like the controlling say-so on the team. He sold his majority stake. So this was not a Mark Cuban decision, at least I don't think it was. This was a decision by someone who I think forgot they were in real life instead of a video game. This feels like something you do in like a management sim for a basketball squad where you just kind of fuck around and do some silly, outrageous shit. But yeah, I will say, I actually think Anthony Davis on the Mavericks is going to be pretty strong for them. I think the defense he brings to that team is going to be pretty helpful. But get ready to call me crazy. I know chat certainly did for this take. I don't see Luka being a great fit on the Lakers. As much as I like Luka, he is an offensive weapon of mass destruction, but on defense, he's sometimes a liability. I will say I think his defensive stinker reputation is a little overblown. You know, people talk about Luka's defense like it's wetter than this fart. And it's really not that bad. He's not the best defender, but I think he's fine. But I think the Lakers now losing Anthony Davis needs something more than fine defensively. But we will see. The Dallas Maverick GM came forward and said that the reason they wanted Anthony Davis this badly to trade Luka is because defense wins championships, which is a age-old saying I'm sure you've heard millions upon millions of times, but at the end of the day, it is true. it is true. Though in this case, I don't necessarily believe that you're in a better position now to win championships than you were with Luka on your squad. The Mavericks were just in the finals. Yes, they didn't win, but they could have. They were a team that was capable of winning it all, and I don't think trading your franchise superstar for a defensive boost is the best call, but I can see where it's coming from. I do think Anthony Davis will fit in well with the Mavericks, but I don't know if that makes the team overall better than they were with Luka. I do, however, think the Lakers don't really get much better with Luka, and I stand by that until I'm proven wrong. And then once I'm proven wrong, I'll be like, you know what? I was wrong for the millionth fucking time. It happens. But that's just how I think it's going to go down. Now, since we're already talking about sports, might as well just empty the whole load here. Let's talk about the upcoming Super Bowl. Chiefs, Eagles. For the first time in my life, I'm rooting for the Eagles. I was never a Chiefs hater. Even way back in the day when they had Priest Holmes as their running back, and that was the best player they had. He was my fantasy football running back one year. I never disliked them. You wouldn't see me ripping my shirt off, twirling it over my head, going ballistic every time they won a game or anything like that, but I never disliked them. Even when Patrick Mahomes started to cook and they became this dominant force in the NFL, I still never disliked them. Until this year. Obviously the Chiefs are unbelievably good, but what makes them such a fucking headache to watch and make it so hard to cheer for them is the officiating that surrounds this team. It feels less like you're watching a sport and more like you're watching a show, because the Chiefs get some of the most outrageous calls ever. And the Chiefs themselves know that, which is why now they play into it a bit, with Patrick Mahomes trying to flop to draw a penalty. There was Kelsey attempting a little pseudo-flop as well to try and draw these penalties that are really just very pathetic. And they are always so impactful on the outcome of the game. Most recently with the Bills, where it was the worst spot ever, not giving the Bills that first down. Also, calling a very clearly not completed catch from the Chiefs a completed pass. And even before the Bills, what I think is the most egregious example of referee favoritism, and what I think is probably the referees being told that they should try and do a little something to help the Chiefs whenever they can, is that unnecessary roughness call a couple games back. I don't think I can play you the clips, but they are terrible calls. They're so bad that the commentators, the official commentators that are broadcasting this, are actively saying how much they disagree with it. So that unnecessary roughness call, they even said, "Come on," and verbatim, I couldn't disagree more. Because they are terrible fucking calls. That is something that wouldn't even be called in a flag football game, yet here in the fucking playoffs, it's getting called an unnecessary roughness penalty. And these are really important calls. These calls, in a lot of cases, have decided games that usually the Chiefs end up winning from these fucking calls. So it's really frustrating. Even if you are the biggest Chiefs fan, you are kidding yourself if you try and say that they don't have a lot of questionable calls go their way. And I understand all teams will have that, but the Chiefs have so many of them at the most important moments of their games. It's not a coincidence. Like, I don't think it's scripted. I still fully don't think it's scripted, but I definitely think the referees are fucking corrupt. And I do think there is something there that says, hey, our Chiefs games pull huge viewership numbers. We want them to continue to advance because that's really good for our numbers. So do what you can to, maybe get us in that direction. Like, I do fully think that. Not to be like full conspiracy mode, but come on, there's no other explanation. They are awful calls. The commentators recognize they are awful calls, and they're not shy to say that too, because people are just getting disgusted with it for obvious reason. Now, if this was my team, the Bucks, like if this was, let's say all of this was flipped on its head and the Bucks were getting these calls, yeah, I would be happy, but I wouldn't be trying to defend it either. I'd be like, yeah, they're playing favorites right now, and it's my fucking team on the receiving end. You'll love to see it. Like, I would acknowledge that, but for some reason there are so many Chiefs fans that are just denying the reality of this obviously dog shit officiating that always seems to go the Chiefs' way. And they'll deflect saying things like, this is all a big conspiracy, a bunch of lies, you morons. Do you also believe in flat earth? It's like you all forgot. Week 4 of the regular season, when the Chiefs were up by 3 touchdowns, the refs called this bogus pass interference on the Chiefs that led to the opposing team getting a field goal. So clearly, everyone's victims of bad officiating, including us, the Chiefs. Like, it's stupid. Like, anyone with eyes can watch a Chiefs game, this playoff season in particular, and see that these calls are beyond questionable, and they are going the Chiefs' way very, very often. How weird. So yeah, I'm pulling for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I would hate to see the Chiefs win it again. I really have become big-time Chiefs hater now, sorry to say. I still think the team is absolutely amazing. I think they are probably one of the best teams the NFL has seen since, of course, the Tom Brady dynasty with the Patriots, but I hate watching their games. I can't stand it. You're not watching a sport, you're watching a fucking show when you're tuning into a Chiefs game. And I don't like that as much. So yeah, that's about it for the sports talk today. See ya. Whoa. Definitely didn't expect Rooster Teeth to be back on the menu. I'm sure many of you remember when it shut down not that long ago. Rooster Teeth used to be a juggernaut on the internet with Red vs. Blue, Achievement Hunter, Let's Plays. They were at the forefront of content online. But over the course of many years of being at the top, people started to lose interest, and it felt like Rooster Teeth kind of spread themselves thin. They had like 60 different podcasts and 30 different channels, like really random channels sometimes too, like, Chef Guilford's Kitchen Crazies. I'm whipping up wacky recipes this week, and somehow it's affiliated with Rooster Teeth with like 400 subscribers. So Rooster Teeth, over time, just started to have people stop watching, and it was like this nosebleed that just never stopped. So they started bleeding out, they were losing tons of money, and most people could see the writing on the walls that Rooster Teeth wasn't going to be around much longer, and then in March of last year, it formally shut down. That is, until today, when out of nowhere, like a boner in the night, Bernie Burns, one of the co-founders of Rooster Teeth, acquired it again. Now, for those that don't remember, he actually sold Rooster Teeth back in 2014 for a bag. Bernie, he made off like Scrooge McDuck with Rooster Teeth, sold it at its peak, and now in 2025 must have acquired this for pennies on the dollar, because right now the name carries about as much weight as Blockbuster. It doesn't really have anything. It still has the YouTube channel, the main YouTube channel with millions of subs, but those aren't active subscribers, and the channel has been in the gutter for years where people weren't really watching what got posted there. So it's not the most appealing channel to spend a ton of money on, and all of the property Rooster Teeth used to own, it doesn't have anymore. So he's not buying those things. The obvious one Rooster Teeth I'm confident still has the rights to fully is Red vs. Blue. But Red vs. Blue had an ending. So, I mean, of course, that doesn't mean shit anymore. Like, you can always just dust it off if you want. You could even pull a fucking Marvel and have the multiverse of Red vs. Blue if you wanted, but that never really goes over super well. So I don't know if that was, like, the main motivation here, because he wants Red vs. Blue back, because I don't exactly know what you do with the property now that it's ended. And all of the other active property Rooster Teeth used to have, well, they got sold. So they're owned by things that aren't Rooster Teeth. And some of the talent Rooster Teeth used to have acquired their own shows independently of Rooster Teeth, so now they're all doing their own things, not with Rooster Teeth. So, like, I don't even know what he's buying other than the name, which I think is cool. I'm very excited to see what he does, but it's a really interesting purchase, and it's got me feeling like my boy George. I'm beyond curious what Bernie's going to do with Rooster Teeth now back in his paws. Maybe this is something he did just because he's got tons of money and the brand obviously means a lot to him, so maybe he just wanted to have it back and he doesn't have any, like, grand vision for it. Or maybe he's out there scheming with ways to bring Rooster Teeth back into the fold. Either way, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's very cool that Rooster Teeth in some capacity is alive again. Yes, it kind of went out with a bit of a whimper, but you cannot downplay just how impactful Rooster Teeth was on the internet as a whole in its early formative years with video content. Now, Rooster Teeth put out this press release saying, Rooster Teeth to find new home with brand's original creator Bernie Burns at Box Canyon Productions. 9 months ago, Rooster Teeth announced that it would shut its doors after 21 years of creating content. Today, the Rooster Teeth brand and much of its remaining assets have been acquired by founder Bernie Burns and his independent company, Box Canyon Productions. So that statement that he now acquired the remaining Rooster Teeth assets, I don't know what the fuck that's referring to, because, again, most of the active assets in its death throes were sold. So, Ruby, for example, their flagship animation, that's owned by Viz Media. There's no way Bernie has now got Ruby back. It's not like that would be bundled in with this Rooster Teeth purchase. That's entirely in Viz's toy box now. And it's not like he got a lot of the shows back, because those shows, they were personality-driven shows, and the personalities behind it have now all gone independent and do their own productions. And all of them have voiced how much they prefer working in these, like, small teams together without, like, the puppet masters overhead, you know, pulling at the strings. So I don't think he gets those shows back and the talent comes with it or anything. So I don't know what assets he got with Rooster Teeth other than Red vs. Blue. That's the only one popping into my noodle right now, but I'm sure I'm overlooking a couple. My guess would be, this is just a hunch, a tickle in the old sack, that tells me that Bernie's plan with Rooster Teeth is to literally build it from scratch again. That's what I think. Because the end of Rooster Teeth was pretty catastrophic. And I have to imagine Bernie noticed that. Like, I have to imagine Bernie knows why Rooster Teeth was failing, from all the bloat, spreading thin, crunch, and, like, for every one successful show Rooster Teeth had, they had 10 super stinkers go right down the shitter. So I personally feel like Bernie is looking to try and bring back the magic of Rooster Teeth, what it was when he still owned it, where it was creative and focusing on, like actually good productions, as opposed to just focusing on expanding as many productions as they could possibly get their grubby little paws in. Again, I'm just spitballing. I'm just taking a guess. We don't exactly know what Bernie's, you know, master plan is with Rooster Teeth, the 5D chess moves he's going to make with it, but I really don't think his primary motivator for purchasing Rooster Teeth again was to try and, you know, grab some of the remaining assets, whatever those may be, whatever that is in the fucking post-apocalyptic Fallout universe that is the Rooster Teeth empire in shambles. So I'm thinking he just wants to go from square one again, build it, and then not make the same mistakes that it fell victim to when he sold it. Again, just a guess, and usually my predictions are wrong, so definitely take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, back to the press release. To finish it off, they just give a general overview here of the timeline. Bernie Burns, founder of the online media outlet Rooster Teeth, has officially acquired the beloved entertainment brand. This milestone marks a new chapter for Rooster Teeth as it returns to the hands of its original creator as part of his company Box Canyon Productions. Under Burns' leadership, the historic brand plans to renew its focus on innovation, community engagement, and the spirit of creativity that first defined its success. Burns started Rooster Teeth in 2003 with the breakout success of Red vs. Blue, the longest-running web series in history. Over the years, Rooster Teeth expanded into a multimedia powerhouse, producing hit shows like Ruby and the International RTX Convention Series, while fostering a passionate global fan base. With this acquisition, Burns aims to reignite the collaborative and community-driven energy that made Rooster Teeth a trailblazer in digital entertainment. "I am excited at the challenge of bringing Rooster Teeth back to its roots," said Burns. "The heart of this brand has always been its fans, and I look forward to writing a new chapter together." As an early pioneer of online video content, Rooster Teeth set the standard for how fan-first entertainment could thrive in the digital age. With Burns back at the helm, fans can anticipate a renewed dedication to Rooster Teeth's original mission to entertain, inspire, and connect. Along with the acquisition, Box Canyon announced a new development slate of productions for 2025, including renewed production of some of the platform's classic shows, a new original audio adventure again, and an untitled reimagining of Burns' first film, The Schedule. It definitely does sound like there's big plans in the works here for Rooster Teeth. Again, I don't know what classic shows he now has under his belt to work with, but excited to see what the roadmap looks like for Rooster Teeth going forward. They did also post a little hype video, letting us all know that it's under new management.
Guys? Why the lights off? I'm back from getting milk. What the hell happened?
You know, the more I sit here and think about it, I think there's also a very real chance with Bernie at the head of Rooster Teeth again, that he's able to get a lot of the talent that went to do their own things back, at least to a certain extent, to Rooster Teeth. So maybe he'd be able to get, like, the original gang back together for, you know, the next go-around at the rodeo. I think that's also something that's probably not off the table, because I imagine Rooster Teeth is a very sentimental brand to a lot of people. And I think, you know, someone like Jeff might be open to the idea with Rooster Teeth under Bernie to come back and at least do content with it and engage with it in some capacity, and I'm sure there's others that would as well. So maybe that's also something that's part of the strategy going forward. Either way, very unexpected to see Rooster Teeth rise from the ashes like a phoenix, not even a full year after it closed. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with Rooster Teeth going forward. That's about it. See ya.